I did not.
I don't see Camille. Is she going to jump on board?
She said she was, so she should join us. And then Director Angel Barajas from the county, I do not see.
Okay, so we've got a quorum. Agency business number 1, we're going to have this meeting pursuant to Government Code Section 54953. And then we're going to go to number 2, which is the approval of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda, please.
Stallard moves.
Stallard moves. Second.
I'll second, Arnold.
Arnold. Madam Clerk?
Yes, Chairman Rich Landsberg,
Aye.
Vice Chair Josh Chapman,
Aye.
Director Tom Stallard,
Aye.
Director Will Arnold.
Aye.
Good. We have a approval. We have an agenda. Go to number 3, public comment. Anybody have their hands raised? Michelle?
No one has their hands raised, but do you need to go back to the approval of the agenda? Is
Yes.
item 2.
We passed that. Okay, any public comments you received?
We do need to approve the continued use of the teleconference.
We do after all.
Move approval of our continued use of the teleconference, Mr. Chair.
Second,
Chapman, second.
Madam Clerk, a vote, please.
Yeah, Chairman Rich Landsberg,
Aye.
Vice Chair Josh Chapman,
Aye.
Director Tom Stallard,
Aye.
Director Will Arnold.
And that motion passes as well.
There we go.
Thank you.
So back to public comments. Is there any public comments you received?
No public comments received.
Okay. Takes us to number 4, approval of the CEQA Environmental Impact Report Addendum 14 for Davis Pipeline. Is that going to be Stan?
Yeah, yes, thank you, Board Chairman. So we just sent out the staff report for this. I apologize, that just got into your packet, but in essence, it's really short and quick. We do have originally the City of Davis, the transmission main that is in the City of Davis was part of the original EIR that was adopted by Davis, Woodland, and then ultimately by the board. We envisioned tying in all 5 of our deep wells to that transmission main to, in essence, blend the water to conjunctively use it and make a consistent water quality. Ultimately, we only connected 4 of the 5. This addendum addresses going ahead and moving forward and connecting that 5th one. At the time the transmission main was constructed, we had left that 5th one as a backup, that 5th deep well. Given the conditions over the past couple of years, we've found that we certainly need to include that as part of our regular rotation of deep well that we use for conjunctive use. So we went ahead and we are preparing the design now to connect that well like we do the other 4. So this addendum will address that. And with that, basically the recommendation is to move and approve the CEQA Environmental Impact Report Addendum 14 in the form presented at this meeting, and find and determine that basically you reviewed Addendum 14 and that the findings are in accordance with all of the appropriate regulation and that the impacts do not increase and the mitigations are not significantly different from what the original EIR indicated. And I'm happy to take any questions related to that.
Thank you, Stan. Any board member have a question or comment for Stan?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
don't we have to have a public hearing when we consider a CEQA approval?
I'll run that by Ryan.
We do for all our city ones. That's why I'm asking.
For many CEQA approvals, you do need a more formalized process. An EIR addendum does not have a particular process associated with it and can be approved simply as a Brown Act item.
Thank you. Thank you.
good question, though, Tom. So no questions or the comments? Can I get a motion then to approve the CEQA impact report addendum number 14?
So moved, Arnold.
Second,
Second, Chapman.
thank you for second. Before we take the vote, is there any public comment on this, Michelle?
No public comment received on this item.
Great, let's do a vote on it then, please.
Director Will Arnold,
Aye.
Director Tom Stallard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Josh Chapman,
Aye.
Chairman Rich Landsberg.
Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. That takes us to item number 5. We're going to go into closed session to have a conference with our real property negotiators.
Stopping the video.
Whenever you're ready. Okay, is there? Thank you, Michelle. We're back in the public session after being in closed session, and there's no action or nothing to report from that closed session. That's going to take us to item number 7. Consider approval of CEQA addendum number 15. Is that you, Tim?
Yeah. So this latest CEQA addendum is very similar to previous water transfer EIR addendums that we've done. Basically analyzes the impacts of transferring up to 10,000 acre feet of water. We're covering both the 6,000 acre feet for summer and then the option for the 4,000 in winter. So we're covered for both of them. Should we do both? And then yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's a relatively straightforward agreement. I don't know if there's any. Josh, were there any there was a potential for some additional changes that we may have to make. I don't know if we had to do that or if we don't have to. There may be some minor additions, but.
Yeah, Tim, unfortunately, MBK does have some comments, but they literally came in about 5 minutes before the meeting started. And basically the changes just reflect a little more detail on South Sutter's groundwater pumping program, and to essentially state that there would be no impacts expected from the groundwater substitution pumping on South Sutter's side, and that in previous transfers that have been similar, that they haven't experienced any third party or other impacts, and that they've been able to keep the reservoirs refilled pretty promptly and get the groundwater levels back up, which are the key issues that DWR and Reclamation and the State Water Board would be concerned with. So, you know, Ryan can yell at me if I say this incorrectly, but what the request would be is that the board approve this addendum today with permission for staff to make any final changes to it before it's completed and signed.
And my understanding is that Josh just provided you with the basic facts of the additions that need to be added, just to reflect that South Sutter has added additional information to show that any groundwater pumping associated with this transfer would not have any significant environmental effect within their service area. So it's basically they have previously done this sort of thing without any environmental issues resulting, and the language to be added to the addendum document itself would just document that fact, but it wouldn't be any facts that you don't have in front of you.
Mr. Chair,
Concerns there wouldn't be any substantial changes to the addendum. Is that right, Josh?
That's correct.
Thank you. Any questions for Josh or Ryan? Hearing none. Any public comments on item number 7, Michelle?
No public comments received on item number 7.
Great. And,
Mr. Chair, I would offer a motion to approve the CEQA Environmental Impact Report addendum number 15 for the purchase agreement for water transfer.
motion by Stallard. Can I get a second, please?
But I wanted my motion also to include if there's a need for any technical corrections, that they be made at the discretion of the staff.
I'll accept that as the seconder.
Thank you. We have a motion by Stellard with some language to allow some amendments, seconded by Arnold. Madam Clerk?
Director Will Arnold,
Aye.
Director Tom Stallard,
Aye.
Vice Chair Josh Chapman,
Aye.
Chairman Rich Landsberg.
Aye. Thank you, Michelle, for that.
Welcome.
That takes us to item number 8, Resolution 2201, Purchase Agreement for Water Transfer to South Sutter Water District. And that's going to be Tim, I think.
Yeah, yeah, so we have the purchase agreement up for consideration with South Sutter. This group came up relatively quickly. It was one of the dry year meetings that the North State water agencies have. They kind of raised their hand in meeting and said, hey, we have 10,000 acre feet to transfer. So Ryan let me know. We called them within a couple of days. We had a draft agreement prepared and an environmental document underway. So we're very happy to have this opportunity to work with them should the board approve it. The agreement is for, there's really 2 parts. There's 6,000 acre feet of water for the summer months. It is a market competitive rate, although I feel like we're getting a fairly good deal on the price. And that we would use between the months of April and August this year to help supplement our summer water supply. And then there's and also an option agreement for up to 4,000 acre feet for winter months should the term 91 curtailment continue. For the option, the agreement includes a $25,000 payment to preserve the exclusive use to that water. So they will hold it for us in the reservoir for us to decide in August whether or not we wanted to take that water. And then we would have to have an agreement in place right around September 1 to reserve that water for us for use. The agreement does also include up to $100,000 in expenses related to engineering, CEQA, permits with DWR, State Water Board, Reclamation, Sutter County, if anything, to get the agreement and everything done. There is some effort to get the TUCP prepared, submitted, requires meeting with the state, hopefully only once, and get that done. The reason why we do need to do this agreement this year is because we are expecting that our CVP water rate will be cut rather significantly, and we feel that we would appreciate having this water available for use during the summer months. And kind of the volume is really to try to get the level comfortable for the partners in which they can use their backup supplies and make it through the year. Can take any questions you may have.
Thank you, Tim. Any questions for Tim on item number 8, the water transfer to the South Sutter Water District? Hearing none, do we have any public comments, Michelle?
No public comments on item number 8.
Okay, no further comments, further questions? Can I get a motion?
So moved, Arnold.
Arnold moves. Can I get a second?
Second, Chapman.
Chapman, second. Madam Clerk?
Chairman Rich Landsberg,
Aye.
Vice Chair Josh Chapman,
Aye.
Director Tom Stallard,
Aye.
and Director Will Arnold.
Aye.
Anything else on the resolution, Ryan, that we need to do?
No.
Thank you. All right, thank you for that. That resolution passes. That takes us to item number 9, which is adjournment of this special meeting. We're going to adjourn to our regular board meeting now scheduled for April 21, 2022. Absent that, have a good evening, everyone.
Just one note on that. We may be entering a period of transition where we're back in person for meetings.
Yes.
Where the governor has withdrawn some of the executive orders that allowed for this sort of meeting, and so we may be back into in-person meetings soon.
So if we're back in person, that'll be in Davis, it looks like, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yes.
I will see about
When will we know,
acquiring,
Ryan?
yeah, I'll see about acquiring a reservation for that date.
Thank you. When would we know, you think, Ryan?
That's a good question. I think it's all sort of still on the fly. It depends to some degree, I think, on your own county health officer. The law that currently governs this sort of meeting, if I recall correctly, says that if you have a current emergency, so that it doesn't necessarily have to be a state level emergency. Josh may know this a little better than I do. But we may be to the point where no one is stating that there is a public health emergency that prevents public meetings.
And if I can just add to what Ryan said, actually, the law does require a statewide emergency declaration. And at this moment, the governor, as Ryan said, lifted a lot of the COVID-related executive orders and emergency proclamations, but the one that hasn't been lifted yet is the overall COVID emergency. But there's some continuing pressure to get that lifted, and there's an expectation that that will probably happen relatively soon, assuming the numbers continue in their positive direction.
Thank you for that, Josh. Appreciate it very much. All right, everyone. Good night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Richard, are you still on Landsberg?